there's less time spent breaking down fat and carbs, which means that those things are going to get stored a lot easier. How does alcohol impact the gym? This is from our cameraman. So, Glenn, I took a few liberties with this question because I know you said specifically like beer versus booze. I didn't go down that direction because the only real thing that I was noticing was just calorie difference. Like it didn't seem like, you know, if you were taking shots of vodka versus like chugging a beer, that it was going to have a different impact on you outside of there are just more calories in a beer, right? Which is going to cause more fat gain. But, I basically went at this from 3 different directions. Your testosterone, how much more likely you are to store body fat or gain weight, and muscle protein synthesis, how it impacts the actual muscle that you're going to gain. So I actually have these up on my laptop. This might be the first time I've ever brought my laptop for a podcast, so I actually have some semi-detailed show notes for this one, I think. But they have actually seen alcohol lower testosterone as much as 45%. Now, one thing to clarify is that this is testicular testosterone. So, NAD plus is a coenzyme that your body needs to make testosterone, and that is decreased specifically in the testes and the liver. So the significance of that is that we don't necessarily see that 45% decrease in women. There was some hormonal implications there, but basically because, you know, women do not have testicles, they were not impacted, or their testosterone was not impacted to quite the same degree. But you also have to keep in mind they have much lower testosterone, so even the impact that they would see theoretically isn't going to be as significant, or potentially could honestly be the inverse, depending how you're looking at that. But yeah, so you do see a pretty steep decrease in your testosterone levels. This next one that I went on is just how your body actually gains weight or gains body fat from this. So your body metabolizes alcohol like a poison. On some levels, it pretty much is a poison. You know, that's why your body wants to like go for it right away, is, oh, this is negatively impacting our body, let's get rid of this. So it actually has to break down alcohol first, because it's got to get rid of that. So that means there's less time spent breaking down fat and carbs, which means that those things are going to get stored a lot easier. So if your body is focusing on clearing, you know, this quote poison out of your body, obviously it's not going, oh, well, we also need to finish digesting these carbs and this fat and blah, 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 blah. It's going to go, hey, we'll get to that shit later. Store that, right? It's not going to prioritize something that's not a quote poison to you. One other really important thing here is that binging after you've been drinking, so, you know, when you're hammered and it's 2 a.m. and you go to that one taco joint that's always open. If you live in Reno, it's La Michoacana or what, Roberto's? Yeah, La Michoacana or Roberto's. You know, if you're going to one of those places at 2 a.m. or something when you're, you know, fucking hammered, please have a designated driver. You're going to be storing body fat much, much quicker. And that next morning, you're going to be storing body fat much, much quicker, because you still have to break down that alcohol in your system. And this final one is alcohol decreases muscle protein synthesis by 37% in men who drank 8 hours, or in that 8-hour window post-exercise. So for people who don't understand that, that is essentially like, how effectively is your body going to build muscle? You know, obviously we don't get like all the muscle breakdown that we create in our system does not get perfectly one-to-one rebuilt and grown to a higher degree, but you're seeing a 37% decrease if you're drinking in that 8-hour window, even when you're eating an optimal amount of protein. And I have a study linked for every single one of these that I'll put in the show notes. But even if you're eating an optimal amount of protein, you're still seeing a 24% decrease in muscle protein synthesis. So when you're controlling protein, you're obviously going to see more muscle growth, or at least theoretically, assuming all other factors are going that direction. But you're looking at up to, you know, a 1 in 3 decrease if you don't control your protein, and a 1 in 4 decrease if you are drinking in that 8-hour window, but making sure that you're still getting enough protein. These things all are not counting the fact of you're probably going to sleep less, The way that you sleep when you are drunk is not the same way that you sleep when you are tired, when you're sleeping. It is more akin to being knocked unconscious than it is to actually sleeping. And there's a little bit of research on this. I don't have it off the top, but it is in the book Why We Sleep, which you guys can check out. You can Google that, and it's a pretty easy book to find. There's also the amount of dehydration that you're going to get from drinking, and then overall, just your recovery is going to be impacted. Your testosterone is going to be lower. You're not going to be metabolizing protein, carbs, and fats as effectively. You're not going to be repairing quite as quickly. You're going to be dehydrated, so you're not going to have your body shuttling different kinds of nutrients through the body as effectively. And again, you're not going to be sleeping properly. So your body cannot repair without proper rest. So that is my long-winded, hey, maybe drinking isn't that useful. And that's not to say that you shouldn't drink at all. Like, I personally don't, but if you get some social value out of it, or it helps you like loosen up to be more fun with friends, like, go for it. But it's essentially just it's kind of a cost benefit analysis. Like, if you're getting hammered like 2 or 3 times a week and your goal is to build a shitload of muscle, like, those things are kind of at odds with each other. So there's that. Thank you for that question, Mr. Glenn. Did you want any more on that, or is that
works?
Okay, cool. Hell yeah. All right. I felt all right about that one. Hey guys, if you got some value out of that question, please share it to someone else who needs to hear it. And I'm talking to you right now. If you want to ask your own question, you can go direct message me on Instagram at AndrewPFM. You can go toss a comment on YouTube, on TikTok at AndrewPFM as well, or my business Instagram at Pride Fitness and Movement. Yeah, hope to see you guys there. Later.